Stay safe. From KCRG TV 9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
Good evening and welcome to the Monday evening edition of First Alert Weather Now. I'm meteorologist Thompson.
And I'm meteorologist Messier.
Bit of a day of transition across eastern Iowa today. Temperatures started to fall as we went to the afternoon, especially for those that were lucky enough to see sun early on.
I know I was in Iowa City earlier today and it was sunny and it was in the 50s. All I needed was a light jacket, but definitely you're going to need that winter coat if you have any errands to run tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Things are different. They're going to stay on the colder side for a little while, and we've also got some wintry precipitation chances coming up too.
Yeah, even some freezing rain and ice in the forecast for Wednesday, which will break down all of that in your main weather.
Indeed. We'll see how that affects your forecast for fun as well, and we're going to look back at one of the biggest blizzards that ever hit eastern Iowa, certainly within the last few decades.
You know, it is kind of fun to hear you talk about all of these blizzards and winter weather from the past because of how little winter weather we've had so far this year.
It's true. It's the most snow we're going to see, at least on video, for a while, probably. But what you need to know as you head outside tonight, no snow expected, just some clouds out there right now. It's going to be tough to shake those clouds, but we still do expect those to break up a bit as we go toward tomorrow morning. That will allow things to cool off and set up what should be a fairly chilly stretch of days, at least certainly in comparison to the very warm weather we've seen recently. We're going to be at least closer to normal as we go through the week in terms of our high temperatures, and tomorrow will be one of the cooler ones, at least in the immediate future. After that, our first chance for wintry weather arrives on Wednesday. The potential for an icy mix is out there, and we've got another shot headed towards Saturday as well. And like we said, Hannah will have all the details on that coming up in a little bit. Tonight, there is a bit of drizzle out there in a few spots. Piasta City Cam shows that pavement there is a little on the wet side. A little bit reported down toward the Washington area, too, at this hour. Temperatures are in the 30s, generally above freezing, though, so we're not terribly concerned about any roadways getting slick out there this evening, as those temperatures should be slow to fall, at least for now. Those clouds helping to keep us in that sort of same temperature range, but there is an area of high pressure off to our north that's going to allow some of those clouds to break up and also allow those chillier temperatures to work their way in. So your planner over the next several hours takes us into the teens by the time you wake up tomorrow. Those winds, though, stay a little bit blustery out of the north between 15 to 25. That was another change as the day went on, too.
It was, and the picking up of the winds, the dropping of the temperatures. Wind chills tomorrow certainly don't look pretty. It's going to be much more wintry than we've had over the last about a week and a half.
That is for sure. And we've got some of those late winter events coming up this week. Meteorologist Joe Winters has today's edition of the Forecast for Fun.
Forecast for fun, it's with us now as we head into the early part of February. If you're out for a walk, Wednesday, watch out. There are some icy conditions that'll be possible, particularly afternoon and evening hours. Tuesday looks good and Thursday looks good, but again, watch Wednesday if you do plan any outdoor recreational things. As far as our ski report is concerned, not a lot has changed from last week. We still have lots of runs open. Thankfully, the weather at night has been cool enough, while during the day we have watched those temperatures moderate. Now we'll get more seasonal and they can start making snow again. Lots of runs open across Iowa and throughout the upper Midwest. Plenty of snow on the base. It'll be a while before that would melt away, and indeed we'll get a chance maybe at a little more as we head through the week. Iowa State men's basketball on Saturday. TCU at Iowa State. Tip-off is at noon. That's over at Hilton. 33 degrees. There may be some wintry precipitation. We'll have to watch and see how that evolves. The Iowa men's basketball team on Tuesday. Purdue comes to Iowa. Tip-off is at 6 o'clock, and then as we have a noon tip-off, I believe, Wisconsin will be in town on Saturday. That also at Carver Hawkeye Arena with 29 degrees. Let's take a look at our holiday countdown. Valentine's Day, it's coming up fast, only 12 days away. St. Patrick's Day comes up 44 days. The first day of spring is 46 days away, and Easter Sunday comes our way in 77 degrees. This is the time of the year, of course, later in the month when we really start to warm things up. That's a complete look at your early February forecast for fun.
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Hannah Messier.
It's cloudy and chilly compared to what we had earlier today on our Iowa City Cam. Temperatures are in the 30s across the board, 36 in Washington, 35 in Iowa City, and 35 in Cedar Rapids and 36 in Iowa City. Wind chills are in the 20s. But your first alert has all green boxes highlighted on it for the next 24 hours. That will change as we head towards the middle of the week, though. Cloud cover really has settled over eastern Iowa this evening. We're going to be dealing with this cloud cover overnight tonight, along with these winds coming out of the north. These northerly winds pulling in some cooler air, which we can certainly already feel in the area. Overnight, temperatures dropping to the single digits for areas in our far northern counties. However, along Highway 20 and south, we're looking at overnight lows in the teens, 11 in Manchester, 19 in Iowa City, with that partly cloudy sky and winds coming out of the north. Highs for tomorrow in the teens in the far north, elsewhere 20s for Fayette, Waterloo, and Manchester. Cedar Rapids 28 degrees, 30 degrees in Iowa City and areas south. Mostly cloudy conditions persist through Tuesday. Here we have that cloudy sky for tonight. Then we have our overnight hours, a little bit clearer conditions, but don't let that fool you. Clouds will come back as we head into Tuesday afternoon, with winds continuing to come out of the north and northeast. Then we have a chance for some wintry weather, not just for Wednesday, but also for the upcoming Friday and into Saturday. Some rain and some snow, rain-snow mix possible on Saturday. That's going to last for potentially a good portion of that weekend day. So you are going to want to make sure to pay attention to the forecast if you have any weekend plans. Now let's talk a little bit about Wednesday. We are looking at a chance for some wintry mix Wednesday during the day, especially in the afternoon and evening, and Wednesday night. And we could definitely see some freezing rain and freezing drizzle, causing some icing on surfaces and roads. How long that freezing rain lasts and where exactly the roads will be the worst is something we are still working on in the forecasting. What you should do for now is monitor our forecast for updates and plan on maybe just staying inside on Wednesday. Count on some difficult travel on Wednesday for now. In our long-term precipitation outlook, February 10th through February 16th, we have got some wetter than normal conditions in the southern parts of eastern Iowa. From February 10th through February 16th, though, for the middle of the month, things are certainly looking on the chilly side. Here's the next couple of days featuring temperatures in the 20s and 30s. We're going to see that chance for some rain, freezing rain on Wednesday, 33 degrees. Still cold on Thursday, but a little drier Thursday and Friday before that other system comes in on Saturday that we're watching for the weekend. Overnight temperatures in the teens and 20s. Certainly kind of a different winter. The fact that we're getting another freezing rain system, the second one of this winter, when usually we see those more like March. So yeah, it just seems a little bit weird that we've seen more ice than snow.
Yeah, definitely on the odd side, given the lack of snow for sure. That our biggest snow storm was 3 inches maybe in some spots. I mean, like that's about the heaviest we've seen so far.
That doesn't count as a snowstorm, Corey. That's just a couple inches.
Agreed. I'm stretching the definition here. Now, we celebrated Groundhog Day yesterday. I believe Phil is predicting an extra winter, right?
He is. 6 more weeks of winter, but that's if you believe groundhogs.
Which it's up to you to decide.
Yes.
But in 2011, Groundhog Day across a good portion of the country was a day of some pretty extreme weather. In fact, look at this video from February 1st, 2011, that led into Groundhog Day. Folks enjoying the snow, but it did get pretty dangerous with the amount of snow that we started to see during the nighttime hours there. This is video of a plow near the Bertram area trying to at least get ahead of what would eventually become widespread blowing snow and really difficult travel. Now, this situation was based on a really big snowstorm that developed and moved through the Midwest, basically took it on a path that gave a good portion of eastern Iowa the best possible chance at seeing heavy snow, and it was some of the heaviest that we've seen in decades in eastern Iowa, and it caused widespread travel disruptions. Many states saw significant impacts from this. In fact, just a snapshot of the alerts from the National Weather Service that were in effect on February 1st, 2011. Winter storm warning stretching from New Mexico through Texas all the way through the Great Lakes into New England. That's the one same storm system producing all of that trouble. And this big swath of red from Oklahoma City up through eastern Iowa and toward Detroit. That's a blizzard warning that was in effect as this storm system got going. Now, KCRG TV9's Mark Carlson reports on how people were preparing for the storm in Iowa City as it began to ramp up.
From atop one of Iowa City's highest points, these flags tell the story. A blizzard is upon us.
Our drivers are out there. They'll be out there all night. But if we declare a snow emergency, it allows people to know that it's time to get their cars off the streets.
A snow emergency, just one of the countless warnings Mother Nature has prompted across eastern Iowa. For drivers, that means it's time to get their cars off the street.
The biggest thing this is about is public safety, and so get them up and off the street so our drivers can get down and you can get on your way on Thursday and Friday.
But Thursday and Friday are the last days on the minds of some students at the University of Iowa. Administrators canceled classes through late Wednesday morning, and that's something that's been a long time coming for some students.
The high school I came from, we haven't had a snow day in 64 years, so I wouldn't really know what a snow day is like, so I guess tomorrow we'll find out.
Feel like a little kid again?
Yeah, get to play in the snow.
And well, some students feel like kids, others feel a slight bit older, but they still say you're never too old for a snow day.
Having an extra little weekend here. We get to go out tonight, have some fun. Bars are open a little early. Everyone doesn't have class from 5 o'clock on, so yeah, it should be a good time.
Yeah, that the University of Iowa closed was pretty rare at that point. It's probably the first time that happened in a couple decades too. Now, around the Midwest, the setup with this system was this area of low pressure. This would be on the evening of the 1st that year. Pretty strong and strengthening as it moved to the northeast and up toward the Great Lakes. Behind it was an area of high pressure that was very strong too, actually one of the stronger ones of the season. And so in between, we got those winds to build up. You know, those difference in pressure causes those winds to get strong, and that was 20 to 30 to 40 mile per hour sustained winds with gusts between 50 to 60 miles per hour. And as that took place, heavy snow developed. In fact, on that northern edge is where we saw some of the heaviest snowfall rates. Thunder snow being reported in areas of Illinois and eastern Iowa with this, and combine that with those strong winds, that's what caused conditions to get so poor. Now, in terms of snowfall amounts from a broader view, a big swath from southern Missouri through eastern Iowa into northern Illinois and Michigan, that's where 10 to 20 inches of snow fell, with some higher totals observed in a few locations. Surrounding that, 4 to 10 inches of snow and 1 to 4 inches of snow at least as far as northwest Iowa too. Now, that caused travel to be very difficult for an extended period of time. In fact, this is by 6 o'clock in the morning on the 2nd. That's as snow had pretty much wrapped up across most of the state, but all of these orange roads you see here are traveled not advised, and several significant swaths of highways just totally shut down because of the snow drifts that were so high. It wasn't safe for road crews to be out overnight, and so it took some time to clean up. Now, that extended into cities as well. KCRG TV9's Dave Fransman reports on the cleanup process.
By early morning, the main streets in Cedar Rapids qualified as passable, but venture down a side street before a plow got there and you could quickly run into trouble. Diane Catron discovered that fact when she gave a friend a ride home from work.
Carolyn lives down this street, and I thought, well, I'll just drive down the street, and phew, we went right into the snow banks.
A helping hand from a neighbor was often the difference between staying stuck and getting moving. Digging your way out to the streets sometimes took quite a bit of effort. Some vehicles that didn't move out of the way on snow emergency routes found themselves wedged in by packed snow.
You've been digging out your car for how long now?
About 45 minutes.
And how much longer until you can try to move it?
Probably another hour at least.
Cedar Rapids crews expected the job of cleaning side streets to take anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. And this snowfall may get burned into memory as one of the worst in recent history. One man shoveling a sidewalk says he thought the foot of snow prediction was probably right from the way things started.
Yesterday afternoon, you could tell it was going to be snowing for a while. And it did.
Cedar Rapids put more than 90 plows on the streets to push the snow to the side, and this was the kind of snowfall that demanded a maximum effort. Dave Fransman, KCRG, TV9 News.
And unofficial totals across the area, Iowa City clocked in at 15 inches of snow, Cedar Rapids 14, and Dubuque 13. Now a little bit further to the northwest, Waterloo got 9.4, certainly plenty respectable in terms of a snowfall amount, but things did get lighter the farther northwest you went. Loudon was the highest snowfall total I could find here with 17.5 inches. Downey not too far away in Cedar County at 16.5. Anamosa at 15, Washington 14, Solon, St. Olaf, and Victor all hanging around that foot level. Now things did, again, remember, get lighter the farther west and north that you went. So you went from 11 inches at Vinton to just 7 inches at Olwine, Marshalltown at 6.6, and Charles City only recorded half an inch of snow. So a little bit of a difference there in a relatively short distance, but where it happened, it really was pretty intense. And those snowfall rates really picked up during the evening hours of February 1st into early February 2nd. 1 to 3 inches per hour were accumulating at times, especially where that thunder snow was taking place. And that was associated with some of the strongest wind gusts too. Reports did exceed 60 miles per hour in a few locations in eastern Iowa. Unfortunately, one person did die due to exposure to the cold temperatures near Mount Pleasant. They had taken out a snowmobile, and unfortunately it had broken down. They had a medical situation and then were unable to get indoors. But the National Weather Service described it worst in memory, at least of a younger generation for sure. Certainly the worst probably since the late 1970s in terms of snowfall amounts. Pretty intense. I was living in Iowa City at the time, shut down my day for sure. This was probably one of the few times I can remember having to skip work the next day because I really couldn't get where I was going. Like my street had not been touched yet. Cars were just surrounded by snow up to the mirrors and beyond, so it just took a long time to dig out.
I know. I was kind of laughing at some of the people trying to push their cars out of the snow. You really can't go anywhere when there's 14 inches of snow in 2 days in Iowa City, but the 17.5 inches in 2 days that was the most in the area, that was kind of crazy too.
Yeah, and totals, I mean, think about this affected Chicago, for example, in about the same way. 15 to 20 inches of snow fell there. There is a picture that's in my mind. We don't have the rights to it, so we couldn't show it, but it's just a stretch of cars abandoned on Lakeshore Drive because people got stuck and the storm was getting bad, and so they just left their vehicles behind because that's the best that they could do. And that's the kind of thing that I remember like seeing, but not in my lifetime. And so it was just a remarkable storm.
You know, when you have that much snow on the ground, I feel like everyone should just go, you know what, it's a holiday. We're all just staying inside and looking at it because you can't, winter wins sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it does, but we're probably not going to see anything quite that bad anytime soon, at least.
That's true, but the ice we could see on Wednesday is still something Eastern Iowans should definitely consider. That is featured in your 9-day forecast, along with some colder temperatures. We've been blessed over the last couple of days to have a lot of places seeing 40s and 50s for highs. That's changing for tomorrow. Look at what we are expecting on Tuesday. Tuesday, we're going to have wind chills stuck in the teens and 20s. We're actually going to feel like the single digits for tomorrow morning for wind chills. Then we're going to feel like the teens and 20s in the mid to late afternoon, wind chills dropping back into the teens in the evening hours. Let's talk more about Wednesday. We are expecting some ice accumulations with the system on Wednesday, beginning on our Wednesday and then continuing potentially into Thursday morning as well. Very slick conditions where ice accumulations are, and those ice accumulations pretty much possible across the entire area. So we're still forecasting it. We're still kind of picking through the details, but for now, just be flexible with those travel plans on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday look pretty dry, but then things change again on Saturday. Saturday, we also have another chance for some rain and snow in the forecast for the weekend. So as you think about any weekend plans, just be aware that you might have to deal with some wintry weather again on Saturday. Other than that, winter kind of looks to stick around for a little bit. Highs staying in the 30s through Monday, 20s Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'm with you guys. I know it's not going to feel great outside after we've had such spring-like weather, but this is closer to what we should see in early February, and it is kind of nice to see some more precipitation in the forecast, especially considering how dry it's been. I know snow can be kind of frustrating, but we do definitely need that moisture.
That is for sure. So hopefully we get some of it within the next 9 days. And you're right, it is more like what we should expect It's also something we'll get used to in a pretty big hurry, too. It's not too extreme.
That's true.
Yep. And thank you for joining us tonight on First Alert Weather Now. We will be back again tomorrow night, same time, same place. Have a good night.